Hey y'all, I'm Melissa Guerra. I am the kitchen wrangler, and today we are going to be making tortilla chips using corn tortillas. They're kind of a recipe for experienced cooks, so if you're a beginner, you may want to watch this video a couple of times until you get the hang of it. We're also going to be making a little chili lime salt, which is fantastic for your corn tortilla chips. And I'm gonna finish off with a little guacamole, which is, of course, goes so well with corn tortilla chips. Now, if you want a recipe for guacamole, I have a video right here on YouTube. It's my favorite recipe, so check it out. But let's get started on those chips. We need cooked corn tortillas to start with our corn tortilla chips. Really, I prefer factory-made corn tortillas, and I'll tell you why. They're rolled very evenly, very thinly. They fry super evenly, and so don't feel guilty if you haven't handmade every single corn tortilla. It's a lot of time, and the results are kind of inferior, so go with the factory-made ones. And if they're stale, if they've been sitting in your fridge for a while, even better, because they will fry up even crispier if they happen to be just a little bit stale. The first thing we need to do is to cut them into wedges. I only have about 6 corn tortillas here. I'm gonna cut them into 6 wedges because for me, that's the perfect size. I don't really like cutting the tortillas into quarters because the chips are just too doggone big. Once we have the tortillas cut, now it's time to heat the vegetable oil. I'm just using a regular old canola oil. That works. You can use corn oil, whatever oil you like. I don't really recommend olive oil or lard. It just doesn't fry quite correctly. You can try avocado oil. That seems to work well also. And I have used peanut oil a couple of times, and that turns out really well, but it has kind of a different flavor. The way I like to fry the corn tortilla chips is in a skillet. Some of you may have a deep fryer. I don't really like those all that much because you can't fit all that many in at one time. These corn tortilla chips fry really quickly. Those deeper deep fryers, does that make sense? The deep fryers, they just kind of tend to stack, and I just never have had good results with those. I do fine with just a plain old skillet. The other thing I like about the skillet is you don't need that much frying oil. Now, I live at the ranch. I don't want to have to run into town every time I run out of an ingredient, so I'm kind of stingy with the way that I dole out my pantry items. I don't like using a ton of oil if I don't have to. Again, that's another reason that I like the skillet. And we're going to heat it to about 350 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, actually, that temperature is a little high, and I'll tell you why. Because once we start adding the corn tortilla wedges to the hot cooking oil, the temperature is gonna drop by about 20 degrees, and the frying process is gonna slow down. So I overheat it just slightly because I know the temperature is gonna drop. Now, I don't know if you know this, but the process of frying is a process of dehydration. So you're gonna see all these bubbles come up as the corn tortilla chips start to fry, and that is the moisture leaving the corn tortilla. And so as that chip starts to dehydrate, you're gonna notice that the frying kind of slows down. The bubbles get a little bit more lazy and it just gets slower. At that point, that's when you want to turn the chips over to the other side so they'll start dehydrating on the other side. Total frying time is about 60 seconds for both sides. It really doesn't take that long. Another thing that you'll notice is when you first put the chips in, it'll take longer for them to fry than the second batch or the third batch, and that's because cooking oil actually starts to break down. So on the second and third batch, it will actually fry a little bit more quickly once some of that oil has broken down. Now, it may not look like it. My first batch kind of got a little bit too dark because I was messing with my camera, so I apologize for that. But usually the first batch that comes out of the pan is really blonde color. The next batch will be a little bit toastier, and the third batch is even more toastier than the second one. After they're lightly golden brown, I'm gonna remove them from the cooking pan and I'm gonna drain them on some paper towels. Here I have a heat-proof plate, and I'm gonna add a couple of paper towels so I can drain the chips once they come out of the hot fat. Okay, all of our chips are cooked. We're gonna let them cool off. So let's make that chili lime salt that I was telling you about. This could not be easier. We have 3 ingredients. First, I need some chili powder, and I have a wonderful chipotle chili powder that has kind of a smoky flavor, so I'm gonna add a teaspoon of that to a bowl. And then I'm gonna add a teaspoon and a half of granulated sea salt. Now I want a really fine grain. There are some people I know that recommend kosher salt or flake salt. That's all fine, but I like the really fine salt to mix with the chili powder. Now if you can find it, use powdered lime juice. It's sold in the market right now for a mixture with your beverages, but I really like it in powdered seasonings. So take a little envelope of that and add it to your chili and salt, stir it together. And I've got a funnel and a salt shaker, and I'm going to add the whole mixture to the salt shaker so I can use it over the chips. Now that the chili lime salt is in the shaker, just shake it over the warm chips and it will stick. Don't wait until the chips are cold because it won't stick as well. And let's make up that guacamole very quickly. I've got my molcajete and some chile piquin that I collected from my yard that is dried out, and I'm gonna grind that together with some salt. I'm gonna add this beautiful avocado. You know, avocados cause a little bit of drama because I never know if they're gonna be beautiful on the inside or not. But this one happens to be a real hero. It's gorgeous. We're gonna add that to the molcajete, and I'm gonna mash it up to pick up all of the ground up chile piquin and salt that's on the bottom of my molcajete. And let's add a little bit of lime juice because that'll help preserve that nice fresh green color of the avocado. So that's it for making our corn tortilla chips. It was pretty easy. It was a lot easier than me driving to town. But if you think there's some tricks that you missed, go back and watch the video again. You can definitely master this skill with a little bit of experience. If you ever have any questions about recipes, or you have a question about a technique, you can always message me at help@kitchenwrangler.com, or you can message me through Twitter, through Facebook, through Instagram, through YouTube, through TikTok. Man, I'm all over the place. But I'm always so happy to hear from you. I'm Melissa Guerra, I'm the Kitchen Wrangler, and I'm looking forward to seeing y'all here at the ranch again soon. Bye now.